Last night on the Harry S. Truman, deployed overseas right now, battling Houthi attacks, a jet, an F-18, somehow ended up rolling off the side of the ship out of the hangar bay and into the ocean, costing the Navy $60 million. I've worked on an aircraft carrier. I was stationed on the USS Ronald Reagan. I used to work on aircraft, so I am familiar with how they are handled and moved about the ship. And this is absolutely insane. And there's a little piece of information here that I find very intriguing. So when you move an aircraft around an aircraft carrier, it's connected to what's called a tow tractor, which is basically just a cart that has a hook on it that connects the aircraft to it, and it gets pulled around the hangar bay, moved up to the flight deck into position so that people can work on it or stow it away in case of bad weather or get it ready for its next flight. Part of that crew are people walking along the sides of the aircraft to make sure it doesn't bump into anything. There's the person driving the tractor. There's somebody sitting in the cockpit whose job it is to hit the brakes in case of an emergency. And then there's somebody called the plane captain, who is overall responsible for the safety of the aircraft. And they're giving directions, turn left, turn right, make sure that the aircraft gets there safely. It's overall their responsibility. So how does something like this happen? What would have to occur for this aircraft to go flying over the side of a ship? I'm actually not entirely sure. There could be certain problems, like if the tow tractor hook was not attached correctly to the wheel, if the brakes failed, if the ship took some crazy maneuver or something like that, which I actually heard something about, or some kind of gross negligence. I will say this, if you're that plane captain, if you're that crew, talk about a pucker moment, because watching an aircraft that you're responsible for tumble over the side is probably going to reflect poorly on your next evaluation. Unless, of course, this is true, because early reports suggested that the aircraft carrier had come under Houthi attack and started making dynamic maneuvers, causing the aircraft carrier to list so strongly that the wheels and brakes essentially on the equipment failed. Thankfully, according to reports, the crew involved with moving the aircraft was able to bail out of the tractor, out of the aircraft, and get out without going into the water themselves, so totally avoiding any sort of man overboard situation. Although one person was injured, my guess there it's the person jumping out of the cockpit, which is about 10 feet up. Happy to hear that everybody's safe, but that's an insane story. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments section.